Knows what you
thinker of them all.
He knows it all. He is Drew DeArmond. Listen to Drew and Scott Tyson weekday mornings. It's Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You want coffee? Anybody want coffee?
Tom, can you get me off the hook? Roll type C.
The tire's tired.
He ain't good looking, but he sure ain't shy. He's a northern bred, southern fed, slick talking guy. Listeners in his posse are the junkyard dogs. The SEC from Tennessee to calling them hogs. From Gainesville up to Lexington to the Tide and Tiger Land. Nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Testosterone high today.
Yeah, Tom's a man, he's got the plan, he's really got it made. What a wife he's got, she's smoking hot, check out the junkyard babe. When everything is said and done, no one can beat his show. He's a high-tech redneck, Tony Soprano. If you love sports without the fluff, he's got the master plan. Cause nobody does it like Thom Abraham, yeah.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
It must be Wednesday. I called it hump day.
Uh-oh. Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is?
It's hump day.
Huh? Anybody? Mike. What day is it, Mike? Let's guess what today is.
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
Lions Day is what it is, yeah. And good morning, everyone. Welcome to Hump Day in the Doghouse, otherwise known as Appliance Day. That's right, it's Appliance Day around the Abraham household. We're very excited. We are very excited because our new appliances are coming in for our kitchen renovation that we're doing. Thank you to the good folks at North Alabama Mortgage. We refied, and now we're in the middle of this kitchen renovation, much of which the Junkyard Babe and myself have been doing ourselves. Now, we had a contractor move the gas line and do a little bit of electrical work in there, but the bulk of the work that we're doing, did a little plumbing, the bulk of the work that we're doing ourselves. Moving cupboards around. I just placed an order for 40 doors. We're keeping the same boxes for most of the cabinets and cupboards and so on. And we're just getting new doors for the whole thing. And I'm hoping against hope that this is going to go okay, because they all got to be put in exactly perfectly. They're being bored and everything, but they got to just line up right and not look janky. I got to come up with a jig or something like that to make them work out good. But today is the day the appliances show up, and that's a big deal. So it's Appliance Day on Hump Day here in the Doghouse. Now, I got a lot of room to get you guys in. I have plenty of topics that I want to get to as well. Wednesday is usually that day we kind of stray a little bit. We're always going to have football in the show, of course, but then we stray into a couple of other things, too, to make sure that we work those in as well. We usually do that on a Hump Day here in the Doghouse. Now, phone lines are open. Feel free to jump in. 256-576-4977. You can text the show. It's 7329 TA show. That's 732-982-7469. The text window now some 14 years. No, wait a minute. Let's see. The text window was invented in 2007. How old would that make it? 14? No. How long ago was 2007? 14 years ago? 15? Almost 15 years ago? It was almost 15 years ago that's when I went to Nashville. It's when I went from Huntsville to Nashville, even though the show was still on in Huntsville. It was July of 2007, and that's when a text window was invented. It's 15 years since then? Oh, my God. I can't believe how time flies. This is incredible. Feels like it was yesterday. Anyway, it's a great way to communicate with us. My Twitter feed, my personal Twitter feed, is at Thom Abraham Show, while the station's feed is at 97.7 ESPN. We are also on the Twitch and the Facebook at 97.7 ESPN. I think 97.7 ESPN was invented in 2009. How old does that make the radio station? The radio station's now 13 years old. Oh, we're a teenager. I think the radio station just became a teenager. We're like sprouting little hairs, little cheek hairs and stuff. We got more hair on our face than does Grizz now on the radio station. I think we're going. The radio station's going through puberty. Damn. I'm getting old. I was the first host on this radio station. The very first local host on this radio station when it was launched. Out of Nashville. I was in Nashville, but they carried my show over here. You can watch the show on Twitch and on Facebook at 97.7 ESPN. I'm still stunned that it's 15 years since I this is mind-boggling to me. I just can't get over how time is flying. My youngest son's going to do an internship now at the radio station. He's 21. He's a senior over at UAH. And, I mean, that means that he was like 6 years old when I got relocated to Nashville. 5 years old. 5 or 6 years old. That is crazy. Absolutely bonkers. All right, where am I? We're on to YouTube, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Like and subscribe there. Go to 977ESPN.com for links to all of that. And while you're at it, get the app. There you can find a link to Zone 2, 3, 4, our alternate streaming channels as well. They're all there for great programming. Remember, we got Alabama and UAH basketball, plus the Havoc, and even once in a while, select high school basketball action. Is there anything that was 15 years ago in your life that feels like it was like a minute ago, or anything at any time in history that feels like it was just a minute ago and now it's 15 or 20 years ago? I mean, I'm 18 years on the air in Huntsville. I guess when did I first go on the air? Fall of 97 is when my radio career started. 97, fall of 97. So fall of 2002 will be my 25th anniversary on the air. I remember like it was yesterday. I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember the phone call I got from the radio station in Avon, New York, asking me that if I would be interested in doing color commentary on Livonia High School football, where I had been a high school football coach years before. Wow. And then a couple of weeks after that, I got a phone call from the Empire Sports Network, which is a regional TV network, like a Fox Sports, Bally, Fox Sports Network type thing, one of those deals. They call and say Adam Lingler, who was the long snapper for the Bills in the early 90s, he was the color commentator for college football on the Empire Sports Network doing Ivy League and Patriot League games. He had a conflict, and they called me, and they said, would you be interested in doing color on a game for the Empire Sports Network? And I said, sure. That was in November of 97. They gave me the job full-time after I filled in, and Wally pipped Adam Lingler and ended up as the full-time color commentator for college football on the Empire Sports Network for the next 3 years. That was in 97. Remember it like it was yesterday. Yesterday. Crazy. Coming up in a few minutes, we're about a week away from the 2022 Baseball Hall of Fame class being introduced. It's the final call for Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, and the first call for David Ortiz and Alex Rodriguez. Is it time for Bonds and Clemens to get in? They are above the line right now, or are close to the line right now. They are above the line right now. You have to have 75%. You got to be mentioned on 75% of the ballots to get into the Hall of Fame. Bonds is running at 77. Clemens is running at 76. 43% of the ballots are known. Okay, are known. So there's going to be 392 ballots this year. You need to be mentioned on 294 ballots to get into the Hall of Fame. If Bonds is mentioned on 73% of the remaining ballots and Clemens on 74%, then they will finally get in. Last year they ended up at 61.8% and 61.6%, almost exactly the same. The same people who vote for Bonds vote for Clemens, and the same people who don't vote for Bonds and Clemens don't vote for Bonds or Clemens. It's going to be close. It's going to be really close for those guys. David Ortiz is getting in. David Ortiz is getting in. He's running at 83.6% now. David Ortiz is going to get in. On the first ballot, he'll get in. Despite the fact that his name was on that original list of 104 positive tests back in 2003, the year before Major League Baseball's policy went into effect in 2004. Now, Rob Manfred has said that there were at least 10 false positives of the 104. There were 10 that they weren't sure of, but no one really knows who they were. Those were anonymous tests that were done to determine whether baseball needed a policy or not. Remember what they said was that we're going to test everybody, and if 5% of the players test positive, we are implementing a drug testing policy. So they were way over the 5%, so they didn't go back and check, okay, did you really test? Were you one of the ones that wasn't positive? Were you one of the ones that wasn't? Didn't matter. They had their threshold. It didn't matter. So there's question as to whether or not David Ortiz was maybe one of the 10 that had a false positive. Ortiz has denied taking PEDs, easy for me to say, to this day. But he was on that list. Should he not at least have to wait a year or two? And you know what? He may go in by himself this year. Now, Jim Cott's going in from the old-timers list. But David Ortiz might be the only guy in this class. That's a hell of an honor when you're going in by yourself, basically, of the modern players. In the meantime, by the way, Alex Rodriguez is already eliminated for this year. He's been mentioned on 41% of the ballots. There's not enough votes that could come in to get him in. Alex Rodriguez was suspended for a year. He failed twice drug tests after the drug testing went in. Okay, I understand that. I get all of that. But Alex Rodriguez was a Hall of Famer from the minute he stepped on the field. I mean, that kid was amazing right through. Ortiz, not so much. See, Alex Rodriguez, there was no doubt the guy cheated. But like Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, Alex Rodriguez was on a Hall of Fame path. David Ortiz, I actually broadcast. This is a random thing. I actually broadcasted David Ortiz's first spring training game with the Red Sox after he had come over from the Twins, where he played for 6 seasons. Remember, I was on the air in Southwest Florida, in Fort Myers, where the Red Sox and the Twins both trained. So I had been following David Ortiz, and then he got traded from the Red Sox from the Twins to the Red Sox. The ballparks at spring training were like 3 miles apart. I remember saying, well, Ortiz used to train over there, and now he's training over here. Came to City of Palms Park. And I brought the first game he did was against the Yankees, and I was asked to do the play-by-play on the game with David Moulton so that the game could be broadcast in Southwest Florida. It was the first game after the Aaron Bleeping Boom game in the playoffs. They were selling spring training tickets for $100 a piece in that game. It was Ortiz's first game. I remember saying he couldn't make it with the Twins. He was playing first base. I remember saying he didn't, he was kind of with the Twins. I don't know what he's going to do with the Red Sox. He played 6 seasons with the Twins. His 162-game slash line in Minnesota, okay? When you take all the games he played in 6 seasons divided by 162, his average 162-game slash line in Minnesota was 266 with 20 homers and 85 RBI. 266 average, 20 homers, and 85 RBI. That was his average season. It's nice, but not great. In 2003, he showed up on the PED list, and he's 288, 31 homers, and 100 RBI in his first year with the Red Sox. In 2004, he goes 301, 41 homers, and 139 RBI. This is a dude that was 266, 20, and 85 with the Twins. In his 14 seasons in Boston, he's 290 with 40 homers and 127 RBI. Average season. That's his average season. That's Hall of Fame stuff. 290, 40, and 127. But for 6 years in Minnesota, he was 266, 20, and 85. Wow, what a difference a change of scenery makes. Look, call me skeptical enough to put on the brakes for a year or two. Now, I believe that Bonds and Clemens should be in the Hall of Fame. I'm not one that says anybody who did the PED shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. I think you still got to use your brain. Sammy Sosa used PEDs. He's not a Hall of Famer. Mark McGwire was not going to be a Hall of Famer. He used PEDs. He was injured too much. He was not, to me, going to be a Hall of Famer. Very good player, not a Hall of Famer. Sosa, not a Hall of Famer. Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens were Hall of Famers who went nuts with the PEDs. They went crazy, but still, and by the way, Clemens never failed anything. I don't know if Bonds did, but we know they did something. We know they did stuff. But they're Hall of Fame. I'm okay with them being in the Hall. I'm okay with Pete Rose being in the Hall as a player. And I'm okay with Alex Rodriguez being in the Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Famer. This was the PED era. But you're going to tell me that Ortiz is a first ballot Hall of Famer and Alex Rodriguez is already eliminated with half the votes in? Not buying it. Josh Carey from the Trash Pandas and the Carey Broadcasting family will join us to discuss a little country hardball. At the top of the 11, Tom Luganville of ESPN is off the slopes of Vermont and back in with us. Brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford. Lots of transfer portal news, plus thoughts on the seemingly dead playoff expansion. We'll get into that with him as well. Over there in a little glass room playing the platters that matter in the stacks of wax and answering the phones and keeping us on the air. And I bet not opposed to a little bit of baseball talk in the middle of the winter here. It's Coach Chris.
Who in the blue hell are you? What is your name? It doesn't matter what your name is.
I'm the producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put this thing together out of spit and polish.
I think this is one of the traits of a really good producer. Keep the talent happy.
I'm on jacked up on Mountain Dew.
Now, Tom. Hey, Tom.
Testosterone high today. Testosterone, whatever the f*** it is.
It really doesn't matter what you think. It really doesn't matter what you say.
Any of you play sports?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing just fine, and yes, no, I can talk baseball anytime you want to talk baseball. I also saw on that list Andrew Jones receiving 48.5% of the ballot, so it's nice to see him kind of move up, and hopefully maybe maybe he'll end up getting it.
Well, he's 5 years in.
Because it would be nice.
He is not quite eliminated yet. He's not going to make it this year. He's going to be 95%.
Yeah.
He'd have to be on 95% of the coming ballots. Now, he ended up with 33.9% last year, so he's going to have a good jump. He's going to have a good jump.
It went up like 33%, so, I mean, it must be nice. So I don't understand why you wouldn't think that he wouldn't be close to being if not, he's borderline Hall of Famer, I would say. And another guy that I'm not even like a fan of the Rockies, but Todd Helton, though, as well. Like to see him kind of move up on the list as well. I was always a big fan of Todd Helton as a kid.
Yeah, he's in his 4th year. He's at 56.7%. He won't make it either. Some of these percentages will fall a little bit when all of the other ballots come in. In fact, most of them fall. Scott Rowland is at 69%, so he's getting closer and closer. It's interesting. Kurt Schilling ended up with 71%, just missed it last year, and he said, take me off the ballot, and a lot of guys would just say, screw you. He's under 60% this year in his last time on the ballot. Sammy Sosa's last time was this year. He's already been eliminated from the ballot as well. I'm surprised that Torrey Hunter doesn't get a little more love. He's only got 3 votes. Torrey Hunter is not even going to be able to stay on the ballot, it looks like, going forward. So you have to have a certain amount, to actually stay on the ballot.
Yeah, but I'm kind of like with you on this. I'm kind of, iffy on why, is it the fan love? Is it just how he carried himself when he played baseball? Is that the love for Ortiz here? Like, is that or is it more of his play?
I think it has a lot to do with it. He was very, very popular.
Yeah.
Very popular with the writers. He was very popular all throughout his career. On top of everything else, just think about this. He was a half a player.
Yeah.
He never played in the field.
Yeah.
He was half a player, and he's going in to the Hall of Fame. I mean, not even a hesitation. It took forever to get what's his name? The kid from Seattle in, the designated hitter. Who?
You talking about?
No, he came. He was first ballot.
Okay.
What's his name? The DH number 3. Good God. Can't believe I'm having a brain cramp on it. The DH from the Martinez, not Tino Martinez. What was his name? The DH from the Mariners back in the day. That guy. He finally got in. DHs it's hard to get a DH in, but they got him in. All right, I'll tell you what. Let's get a break in here. When we come back, Josh Carey will join us. We'll do that next, and we'll talk some baseball here in the first hour on a hump day in a doghouse. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Heads up, sports bettors. Right now you can try VSiN All Access free for 30 days with no credit card required. Visit vsin.com/free month to sign up now.
NBA, the Hawks at home tonight against Minnesota. Atlanta a 2-point home favorite, 233 total. The Hawks 18-25 on the season. The Timberwolves 21-22. NFL divisional playoffs Saturday and Sunday. The Bengals a 3.5-point road dog at the Titans, and the 49ers plus 5.5 at the Packers. Both games on Saturday. Then Sunday, the Rams plus 3 at the Bucks, and the Chiefs a 2-point home favorite against the Bills. College basketball, Alabama at home tonight against 13th ranked LSU. The Crimson Tide a 2.5-point favorite at Coleman Coliseum, over under 146. Number 2 Auburn a 22-point favorite at home against Georgia, 153.5 total.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Thom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey, Wes. Our company, Fleming Roofing and Restoration, specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a fifth-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10-plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
For over 20 years, Audio Insight has been designing and installing systems that integrate today's technology into homes and businesses all over the Tennessee Valley. At Audio Insight, they don't provide one-size-fits-all system solutions. Instead, they design your system from the ground up based on your valuable input. By working closely with you, Audio Insights can ensure that your system will meet your performance, budget, and aesthetic needs. Visit the showroom at 1229 Putman Drive off Jordan Lane and experience some of their fine products firsthand. Visit audio-insight.com to learn more.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
At Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, people call the award-winning burgers totally insane, which is a compliment because Bad Daddy's Burgers are just that. Chef-inspired expressions of pure burger amazingness built with premium Angus beef. They're bold and they're bad. Pair one with one of their signature cocktails or assortment of local craft brews. Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, 2317 Memorial Parkway. Check out our menu and even order online at BadDaddy'sBurgerBar.com.
Hey, this is Justin with the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. We'd like to invite you to North Alabama's premier patio bar and grill, where at the factory, we have something going on each and every night. Monday night, steak night. Tuesday night, karaoke. Wednesday night, the Jeep community comes out for Jeep Jam. Thursday, it's bike night, the biggest in the valley. Friday and Saturday, live concerts on our 4,000-square-foot patio, along with drink specials and a beautiful staff. What are you waiting on? We will see you at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly cloudy sky this afternoon. Temperatures are going to warm up somewhat quickly. By the lunch hour, many of us are talking about temperatures in the mid and upper 50s. Some of us could even be talking about the lower 60s. Unfortunately, it's not going to be a completely great day across the Tennessee Valley, as widespread shower and thunderstorm activity looks to move into the Tennessee Valley through the later part of the afternoon and then early into the evening. That activity is going to stick with us through a good majority of the evening. It is associated with a cold front. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now more of the Thom Abraham Show on your home for Crimson Tide Sports, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Roll Tide.
Segment of the Thom Abraham Show is brought to you by Valley Equipment Rental. Locally owned, your only choice when it comes to equipment rental in the Tennessee Valley. It's Valley Equipment Rental. We appreciate them, and they do a great job for everybody, of course, in the Valley. Joining us now from the Trash Pandas, the voice of the Trash Pandas, from the Broadcasting Carries. It is one Mr. Josh Carey, and he's on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Josh, welcome back to the show, man. How are you?
Oh, it's good to be back, man. I've had a nice little off season and feeling refreshed. Happy to be back on with you, big fella.
It feels like dead of the winter, but you know we're kind of approaching that time where under normal circumstances, pitchers and catchers would only be. You know, that's an old term that we use, pitchers and catchers report in 3 weeks. These guys are training all the time. There's guys there now, I'm sure. There would be guys if it wasn't in the matter of the lockout. But before we get to some Hall of Fame talk, I am hopeful, but I am an optimist. I feel like I'm really surprised that there hasn't been more news out of the meetings and the proposal that was made by the owners, but I'm still hopeful that we're not going to miss any baseball. What's your level of hope on that from a major league level? I know that we're not going to miss any minor league baseball. We're not going to miss any trash pandas, thank God. But what's your level of optimism regarding the majors?
Well, first, I think I really want to hammer home that point to folks is that this lockout only impacts players who are on the 40-man roster. So you're right. When it comes to minor league baseball, this doesn't impact us at all. We're still going to be full systems ahead on April 12th, no matter what's happening at the major league level. But when you talk about major league ball, I'm still above 50%. So I'm like you. I'm an optimist, and I'm an optimist because I think both sides have to get it done. They have to get it done because 2020 was such a disaster for everyone financially that if you suddenly have a lockout and you're losing games, it's a lose-lose for both the owners and the players. So it's imperative that they get the season started. I don't think could it impact spring training? Maybe I could see that happening. But like you said, the players are in shape year-round. I don't think that is as big of a concern. But I think when it comes to the start of the regular season, I would say I'm still above 50% that they are going to start the regular season on time. And let's keep something in mind. One mistake I really felt was made in 2020 when they were trying to figure out some type of a season during the pandemic is there was too much information coming out on both sides. And, of course, the media got a hold of it and they blew it up. I think each side is really trying to do a good job of keeping things under wraps and just going, trying to go through a closed-off negotiating session and not getting the media too involved. And if that's the case, which I'm hopeful it is, they're doing a good job of just keeping it between the two parties.
One of the issues that's on the table, and I'm not saying it's a sticking point, but an issue that's out there, the owners want 14 playoff teams. They want 7 in each league. We've had 5 in each league the last several years, other than the pandemic year. That was a tournament. I don't look at that. Players are calling for 12 playoff teams, 6 in each league. I thought that was kind of interesting as to what the playoffs would look like with 7 or 6. 7, we're approaching half the teams, though. I mean, this is the NBA and the NHL now. We'd have 7 out of 15 in each league making a playoff. We have a 162-game season. Half of the teams making the playoffs, I'm not sure that's baseball for me. You know what I mean? And I know that they're not going to, there's no way they'd ever reduce the schedule back to 154 or whatever. 7 might be too much. I like 5.
Yeah, I like 5. I think I liked it. Frankly, I liked it when I was growing up, which was 2 LCS teams and then a World Series. Right. You had to finish in first place. We know we're not going back to that. I think 10 is fine. And I get where the owners are coming from. What they want is they want more playoffs. And if you have more playoffs, you have more teams in contention. And the more teams you have in contention, the better gate you're going to have throughout the season as opposed to a 500 team that's just playing out the string. The problem, though, is you're right. You get what the NBA and the NHL have, which is you get a bunch of sub-500 teams that get into the playoffs, and the early rounds wind up being snooze fest. And I don't like that. But it's going to come down to money. And but something at some point has got to give, Tom, because the 162-game schedule, you can't have your cake and eat it, too. And at the end of the day, if you're going to have 162 games, you're going to be playing into November every year. And I don't think anyone wants that. So what's more important? Is it the fan or is it the TV? I got to think the TV is more important. So I think at some point, if they do want to expand the playoffs, which it looks like will happen, then at some point you got to reduce the schedule because 162 is too much. I wouldn't be surprised if they did draw it back a little bit, maybe 154, but something's going to have to give from either side on one of these issues.
You say, they say, well, it's going to keep more people involved in the playoff race and so on and so forth. What, for a 3-game playoff, that would, according to the proposal, the 3 games would be all at the, the stadium of the higher seed. So, that would kind of be their, what they get out of it. So I'm like, if you're going to play 162, and here's the other thing. Yes, you keep those 500 teams still in the mix to try and get in, but the other end of that is the 1, 2, 3 type teams, they're playing out the string almost because they're in August. They know that they're in, and you kind of lose the good teams playing competitive games down the stretch so that you can have the 500 teams playing important games down the stretch. I loved it back in the day when you had a team that was winning 95, 96 games and had to win 98 to get in. You know what I mean? Let's let the good teams fight it out for the playoffs, not the teams that are going to win 82 games.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm with you 100%. The pennant race is a dying breed, and unfortunately, the only way we're going to get through this, Tom, and this is the same with the NBA and the NHL, is people are going to have to stop watching, and people are going to have to stop showing up to games. They're going to have to put their foot down and say, look, these early round games, we don't care. We don't care in late September that our team is fighting for the 3 seed because we know they're going to get in as the 4 seed or whatever the deal may be. That's the only way this is going to change. At the end of the day, the reason why baseball was able to have a 2020 season was because of television. And the reason why they extended that playoff to as wide as it was, I think it was 8 teams per league, is because they knew more playoffs meant more revenue. So the owners are actually making the right play here. It's just so watered down. And at the end of the day, someone's going to have to step forward and say, look, guys, what's going to be the best long-term solution for the game? And I just don't think anyone has the foresight to do that. Everyone's thinking about the almighty dollar.
Something you got coming up cool down at the ballpark is Saturday, February 19th, 8 o'clock in the morning. It's the job fair, the Trash Pandas job fair for the upcoming season. And this is cool. I mean, this is a great way for folks to pick up some extra money and young folks to, be able to go to the game, go to all the games and be a part of the game production, promotions and performers and people working at concession stands and production crew and all of that kind of stuff, guest services, parking, all of that. There's jobs available for the summer down there, and they got a big job fair coming up on Saturday, February 19th at 8 in the morning.
Yeah, we're going to have that. We had it last year as well. And this year, this is a great opportunity to get involved with the team. If you've ever wondered what it's like to work in baseball, or if you're just looking for some sort of in with us, this is the best way to do it. Come in here, work hourly with us, and, you'll get to meet people like me or like our marketing director or our general manager and all these people and get to see on the ground floor what it's like to work with a minor league baseball organization. Bring your resume with you, be ready to go, dress up like you're ready for a job interview, and go online to trashpandasbaseball.com. We'll have a little more information on that about all the options, all the jobs that are available. These all are going to be hourly. They're all going to be game day options, but we're thrilled to have people come on down. It's a great way to earn some side cash, especially for those who want to work up in the suite level and bartend and run food to the suites and things like that. So if you're going to be home from college and you want to make some extra money, that's a great opportunity as well. And like I said, if you're thinking about a career in the sports industry, this is a great foot into the door. And we're always looking for opportunities. We were really struggling at the concession stands last year, as a lot of food businesses were. But hopefully that's something we can remedy here this year.
About 20 years ago, a good buddy of mine, at the time, young guy, he was like 18, 19, 20 years old at that time, did the same thing. He was the guy that, shot T-shirts into the crowd at the Fort Myers Miracle games, down there in Florida State League, A-League. 10 years later, he was the GM of the team, and 10 years after that, he's now a GM at the AAA level. You know what I mean? He started out shooting T-shirts into the stands, when he was 20 years old or 19 years old. And, you're right. Get your foot in the door, and the next thing you know, you got a job in baseball.
Yeah, we've done that before. We've hired from within. We have a couple of people who were interns last year. They're still in school, but we're going to bring them back on for a part-time role this year. And then, as they keep working, if there's a position available in our organization, and we're still continuing to grow as an organization, as they continue to work their way in, we already get to know these people personally on a professional level. And so it's a lot easier for us to plug them than it is for us to plug someone off the street who we've never met before. So sometimes those menial jobs that don't seem like much It's called planting a seed and watching it grow into a tree. So that's ideally what you hope for, and we've done that before, and we hope to continue to do that because we do want to hire locally.
I was a big proponent for, maybe someday trying to get an Alabama-Tennessee college, SEC baseball game there at Toyota Field. Not quite getting that yet this year, but Auburn and Tennessee Tech will play there on March 8th, which is kind of a cool thing. 6:05, March 8th. And, about a month before the Trash Pandas get in there, you can go up there and watch some SEC baseball with Auburn at least and see them play a midweek game against Tennessee Tech.
Yeah, we're thrilled about that. It's going to be great. The tickets are going to be just like for a Trash Pandas game. So it'll be $17.44 for a box seat. I think we've sold out of our suite rentals, but we still have plenty. We're going to have plenty of single game tickets available for that contest. And so, come on down. Auburn had a rough year last year, but they had lost a ton of one-run games. Tim Hudson, former Atlanta Brave, he's their pitching coach. I expect some good things from them this year. And Tennessee Tech usually is one of the better mid-majors in America, so it should make for a fun game. It'll be a 6 p.m. start, and if we rain out that day, we have a rain date for March 9th, the following day. So hopefully we'll have some good weather, and it'll be a great way for us to shake off the rust as a staff and put on a game day performance.
Yeah, they're only 2 or 3 years removed from making it to the College World Series, as Auburn, so they can have a quick bounce back for sure. All right, we are about 10 days away, I guess, from the new class being announced for the Baseball Hall of Fame, and I kind of went on a rant on this to open the show. Let's start with Bonds and Clemens. They're both in their last go-round here. Bonds right now at about 77%, Clemens at 76%, with about 43% of the ballots known at this point in time. These guys usually drop when all the rest come in. They're hanging by a thread right now. Do you think they could survive this? And maybe some people finally say, all right, last time we're going to go ahead and put him in. And do you think that they should be in as two guys that performed obviously through the steroid era, but maybe they were on their way to the Hall of Fame anyway before all of that stuff?
Yeah. Okay. So here's the deal. No, I don't think they'll get in, and they won't get in because first off, you mentioned the ballots that have been revealed. A lot of the old school guys don't reveal their ballots; they keep them secret. And the old school guys are the ones who are still going to be gung ho about they didn't play by the rules, they cheated, they used steroids, blah blah blah. And so as a result, I don't see either one getting in. Number two, Mark McGwire didn't get in. Rafael Palmeiro hasn't gotten in. A whole bunch of other guys from that era have not gotten in. So if those guys haven't gotten in, how can you let these two guys in? So,
well, did you think that McGwire was on his way? Did you think McGwire was a Hall of Famer? Because I didn't think McGwire was a Hall of Famer. I didn't think that he would not quite to the level of Sammy Sosa, but I didn't think McGwire was going to be a Hall of Famer. Where I felt like Bonds and Clemens, they were going to be Hall of Famers. They went nuts with the juice. But I didn't think McGwire was going there.
No, I didn't think so either, and I should have been a little bit clearer with that. I guess what I was trying to say is if he had been eligible for that or if he had been under serious consideration, he wouldn't have gotten in. But when you look at Palmeiro and other guys and Sosa, people like that, then, if those guys aren't getting in, I don't see these two getting in. So that kind of answers part number one. But part number two, should they get in? Here's the thing that bothers me, Tom. I understand they broke the rules, but everyone was breaking the rules. I mean, let's not. You're going to sit here and tell me that no college football program cheats when it comes to recruiting? Come on, get out of here. What are we talking about here? They did what everyone else in baseball was doing, and you know what? They play, and you can make the claim that if they hadn't done that, it would have hurt their careers. And they wouldn't have set the records. They wouldn't have made all the money they did. They wouldn't have helped their team win. They wouldn't have gone to a World Series without doing that type of stuff because that's what everyone else was doing. And were they doing it for selfish reasons? Absolutely. But so did all these other guys.
Right.
Are we supposed to, crucify them forever? I don't think so. So in my opinion, at some point you got to forgive these guys and let them on in. Okay.
Yeah.
They were going to be Hall of Famers without all this stuff anyway. you got to let bygones be bygones at some point.
Yeah, I mean, it's best in class, right? If the whole era is tainted, then the guys that were the best in that class of players still should be in. I agree with you 100% there. Now, that brings me to David Ortiz. And I you know, I'm going to preface this by saying I actually broadcast David Ortiz's first spring training game with the Red Sox when he came over from the Twins after 6 years with the Twins, and he came to the Red Sox. And I remember saying on the air then, in 2003, well, this guy didn't do anything with the Twins. I don't really think he's going to be much with the Red Sox. His slash line went from 266, 20, and 85 in 6 years with the Twins to, 290, 40, and 127 in the 14 years he played with the Red Sox. I'm not saying he was juicing the whole time. He never failed the test after the 2004 when they implemented the testing rules. He was on that list in 2003. We don't know who the 8 or 10 guys that had failed positives that were on that list. But I find it very odd that David Ortiz, who, by the way, was just a DH, he's a half a baseball player, that David Ortiz is going to get in. He may go in by himself. David Ortiz at 84% right now is going to get in. And Alex Rodriguez is already eliminated. I mean, he's only got 40%, and Alex Rodriguez was going to be a Hall of Famer who, yes, got suspended, and I get all of that, but I can't believe that David Ortiz isn't held back for at least a year or two, that they're just going to put him in. No questions asked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know what? It might come down, well, it's twofold. Number one, he had the benefit of playing the majority of his career in a very popular baseball city with a lot of media like Boston. So that always helps. I know A-Rod did too, but it helped with Ortiz. Okay, so that's number one. But the other item to bring up here is that, it may get to a point where baseball is looking at their list of inductees for 2022, and they're saying, what are we going to do? There's going to be no one there. There's going to be no one there to draw a crowd. We need a headliner. We need someone to get people excited. And David Ortiz may just be that guy. And I know he was only a DH. And I know that you can make the claim that, whether he was juicing or wasn't juicing, whatever the case may be, he was still a very popular player in a very popular baseball town, and he won a bunch of World Series, appeared in a ton of all-star games. And he was never suspended for anything, for any steroid use or stuff like that. He may be the best option available. But what it also should tell you, Tom, is what are we doing? How does Todd Helton not have a better shot? That is still amazing to me. I look at Todd Helton's numbers. I'm not saying he should be in, but I think he should be considered. I mean, I think we're so based on power hitters right now. We're forgetting about the guys who had the more complete game. Yeah. And those guys are the ones who are being left behind, and those are the guys I really feel bad for.
Well, go look at Andrew Jones's numbers against other Hall of Famers and how on so many levels he's third in this, he's fifth in that, he's sixth in that. I mean, there wasn't a better center fielder with a glove than Andrew Jones. And, again, I'm not 1,000% sure that he's a Hall of Famer, but he sure as hell is a lot more than 48% of the vote. I mean, Andrew Jones should be close, but, again, wasn't that kind of a guy. People always he was so graceful that he kind of looked like he was jaking it a little bit at times. So there's the Andrew Jones situation. And then, of course, Curt Schilling. Curt Schilling got very close last year with 71. This is a rotten shame that he's not in. And then he told the people, take me off the ballot. They don't take you off the ballot, but certainly a lot of writers are accommodating him. He's now at 59%. It's going to end up much less than he had last year. And that's and that has to do with his political views. I mean, let's be honest. If Curt Schilling wasn't such an outspoken, political guy, almost radical right type guy, Curt Schilling would have been in by now. Curt Schilling's a Hall of Famer, and these guys are keeping him out because they got a red ass for him.
Yeah, I mean, they got it out for him, and in fairness to them, I wish Curt had just shut up. I mean,
he needed to shut up.
Yeah. Just please, okay? Because if nothing else, you deserve to get in as a ball player, whether you agree with Curt Schilling or not. He had earned the right as a player to get in, and all he had to do was stay quiet. Just stay quiet for one more year, get in, and then say whatever it is you want to say, but at least get in. And I just wish he could have held back a little bit. And what it would do as well as it would provide a little more variety to what's going to wind up being a rather listless Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I mean, you may get Ortiz, and that's going to be about it. You're then going to get a bunch of other guys who are going to be pushed in thanks to the Veterans Committee. So
Jim Cott.
And,
Jim Cott will be there.
Yeah, Jim Cott. Yeah, I mean, you're going to have a bunch of guys who, let's face it, a lot of today's baseball fans don't know anything about. And if you're Cooperstown from a business perspective, you're going to be looking at a very slow weekend. I mean, these are the things that you got to start thinking about if you're a voter and if you're Cooperstown and if you're the Baseball Hall of Fame, is how do we make this a big thing? Well, you start by putting in the guys who deserve to be there. And right now, the job just ain't getting done.
A lot of these guys are just holier than thou. That's the issue. Josh Carey has been our guest. Josh, I can't wait to get regular Carey's Corners going again. We can talk country hardball. It won't be long now, and I appreciate you coming on.
All right, thanks, pal. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, let's get a break. We'll come back and wrap up hour number 1 next, right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
In today's real estate market, you need the right professionals to help make sure your home purchase is smooth and hassle-free. That's where Jacob Title comes in. Stan McDonald and the staff at Jacob Title cater to the realtor and clients who are looking for a top-flight closing experience. Jacob Title uses the latest and best technologies to ensure a safe and secure exchange of funds, and they pride themselves on great communication well before and during the real estate closing process. Jacob Title in Huntsville and Madison, and online at jacobtitle.com.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us, too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Thom Abraham here for my friend Ross Roberts and his team at Valley Equipment Rental. Coming in April, Valley will have a second location opening up on the North Parkway between Winchester Road and Bob Wade. They'll be offering bigger contractor-only type equipment, including 10K reach forklifts, 300 series track hose, and larger rollers and dozers, along with other equipment. Valley Equipment's 2 locations will better serve the region and allow them to grow their fleet. Valley Equipment Rental, locally owned for 10 years, where they put more care in every rental.
leaving his mark on sports talk radio with a paddle.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Join West Neighbors weekday afternoons on The Drive, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Grumpy hit the text window. He said, well, if we're going to let bygones be bygones, we got to let Pete Rose in. Well, I agree. I think Pete Rose should be in as a player. The reason Pete Rose, they're not eligible to vote for Pete Rose. A lot of the voters said that if Pete Rose was on the ballot, that they would vote for him. He is not eligible because if you're suspended from baseball, you can't be on the ballot. And that's why Pete Rose is never voted on in terms of whether or not he should go in. But, yeah, I think Pete Rose should be in as a player. I think it should say that he was suspended from baseball for betting on baseball as a manager, and I don't think he should be allowed to be at the induction ceremony. But there should be a plaque for Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame as a baseball player. And to be honest with you, I think that this steroid guys, it's not about letting bygones be bygones. The bottom line is use your brain. Which ones were actual Hall of Famers and which ones weren't in an era when we don't know, Josh said everyone was doing it. But we don't know that everyone was doing it. If we knew 100% were doing it, then it's an even playing field. But if 50 or 60 or 70% were doing it, you know what I mean? We don't know. What we do know is that Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens are Hall of Famers. Well, they cheated. Oh. What cheating do you allow? What cheating do you don't allow? You want to go back through everybody that's in the Hall of Fame and say, did this guy ever use a cork bat? Did this guy ever sharpen his spikes? Did this guy ever whatever? And let me tell you something. In the 60s, you know what they all were doing? Amphetamines, greenies, keep them awake game after game after game. Those guys are all in. This holier-than-thou attitude, not good. Tom Lugamill of ESPN will join us next. We're talking college football. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now, and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Hey there, Bob Baumhauer here. Baumhauer's Victory Grill is your big game headquarters all fall long. And with our new fall features, every day is game day at Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Try our pregame starters, including our homemade onion strings, always fresh hot lips, and our all-new Buffalo Dippin' Chicken appetizer. Our main events include incredible chicken, fish, and shrimp selections, always featuring local Alabama Gulf seafood. And don't forget our Sunday Blitz, 11 to 6. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
Making a resolution to stop making resolutions? Power move. Going to bed 3 hours before the ball drops? Power move. Switching to extra reliable internet from WOW with speeds up to 1 gig? Power move. Get the speed you need starting with Internet 100 for just $19.99 a month and get your first month free. Plus, learn how to get up to $300 on us. Sign up at wowway.com today. Wow. Limited to new customers with autopay and paperless billing. Offer subject to change. Restrictions and terms apply.
Here in the South, we like our traditions, like Alabama football and tailgating on fall Saturdays. And the best way to start your tailgate? Visit Brooks & Collier to see North Alabama's largest selection of premium grills and smokers. Big Green Egg, Blaze, and Traeger. Everything you need for that perfect tailgate. Check out our rubs and seasonings. We have a full wall to please any taste palette. Visit Brooks & Collier at 813 Meridian Street or at brooksandcollier.com. An Alabama tradition for 75 years. Roll Tide.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The University of Michigan has agreed to a $490 million settlement with hundreds of people who say they were sexually assaulted by Robert Anderson, a former sports doctor at the school. He worked at Michigan from 1966 until he retired in 2003. He was a physician for multiple athletic teams. A number of football players and other athletes have come forward to accuse Anderson, who died in 2008, of sexually abusing them. NFL, ESPN's Jeremy Fowler's reporting. Raiders interim coach Rich Bisaccia in the mix for the full-time job. He's scheduled reportedly to meet with owner Mark Davis this week. Bisaccia has been the interim coach since mid-October. The Broncos today interviewing Patriots linebackers coach Gerard Mayo for their head coaching vacancy. The Wednesday NBA doubleheader, Celtics host the Hornets, then the Clippers visit the Nuggets. Coverage starts with NBA Countdown at 7 Eastern on ESPN TV.
Roll Tide! Roll Tide! The journey for 19 begins this year. This is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide, and we'll bring all the action to you right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. Hey, I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live, here he is, the big dog.
Let's go, baby!
Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 How you doing?
Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho. Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like El McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond? Get off my lawn.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Thom Abraham Show. This segment of the show is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford and their outstanding service department where, doesn't have to be a Ford to get service at Woody Anderson Ford. Their techs are amazing. They do a tremendous job for you. And when you see those service lanes down there, you realize how much pride they take in their own building. If they take that kind of pride in their facility, what do you think they're going to do when they get to doing the job on your vehicle? And don't forget also the body shop. I mean, the body, you think of, Woody Anderson Ford in the service department, you might not be thinking of body shop. You got a ding or a dent or you got rear-ended or whatever. Their body shop will do a tremendous job for you, too. Check out Woody Anderson Ford and Woody Anderson of Madison as well. They got a bunch of those they got those electric Mustangs in down there as well. When my wife got her Mustang, which is a gas Mustang, when she got her Mustang, it was parked right next to one of those electric Mustangs. That's a sharp little rig right there. That's for sure. All right. Well, what do Tom Luginbill and the college football playoff expansion plans have in common? Well, they both spent the last week going downhill. Luke's joins us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Tom, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good, buddy. How you doing?
Did you like that little going downhill? Luke's been on the slopes in Vermont, and
right.
So while you were going down that hill, it appears that this college football playoff expansion was also going downhill.
Yeah, you know what though? I'll at least give those guys credit for trying to actually come up with a plan and come up with ideas that are executable and that would fit into the space and that could be pre-planned and mapped out. Because if we did half of what they've done so far with the transfer portal and the extra year of eligibility, we wouldn't be in the position that we're in right now with college football on that side. So I at least applaud them for stepping away and saying, okay, there's still a lot of work to do. We've got to figure this out. They can't just throw something out there for the sake of doing it, which is what we've done in some other areas as of late in college football. So, I look at this thing, Tom, and sure you guys have discussed it a bunch. I just think this has to do with a couple of areas. Number one, I understand rewarding the top 4 seeds with a bye, but not allowing those 4 seeds to have an on-campus home game, I think is problematic, and I think there's a lot of pushback because there's not that opportunity. And then secondly, this is about how do you integrate the bowl structure, most notably the Rose Bowl, who won't move off of a January 1 date. So there's got to be there's things to iron out here at the end of the day, because when it comes to this becoming a reality, this is all about money. This is about revenue. This is about a $1 billion potential venture, and they've got to get it right.
Well, isn't part of this problem the fact that, you know how we talk about with quarterbacks, if you got 2, you don't have 1? Well, in this particular case, it feels like leaders, if you've got 5 or 11, you don't have 1. I don't even know now how they got this. You know, probably ESPN was so involved in it. I don't even know how they got the 14 playoff organized. You've got different guys in the Big Ten, the ACC, Pac-12, all these conference leaders with their own agendas and their own problems and their own constituents, but there is no president. There is no leader. There is no – the NCAA is a mess. I mean, they're trying to deal with whatever power they have left. There's no ruling body, and it's like herding cats. I don't know how in the hell – I got to admit with Jim Phillips a little bit, it's like we got all these other problems we got to try and fix. We got a different NIL – rules all over the country. We got these transfer portal. I mean, somebody has to become a leader that can organize all of this stuff, if you know what I mean.
Well, and to be honest with you, and not to diminish the qualifications or the hard work being put in by a lot of the people that are involved in this, but why don't we have more former and retired football coaches who've lived this world, who have been involved in all of this, been involved in the bowl structure, been involved, let's just say, in the college football playoff committee, been involved in knowing what it takes to get a team. Because, listen, we can talk about all of this as being this grand, great idea. You're still talking about taking an 85-man roster and having them play what could upwards be 18 games? I mean, that is a long, long season. So now you start to have questions about, okay, well, do we go back to an 11-game regular season, but don't diminish the amount of weeks in the regular season? So what I would mean by there is add an extra buy-in for everybody. Do we allow every player on the roster to play in a bowl game or a college football playoff game, regardless of eligibility, so it would not count against them? That gives you a healthier roster, more depth in your roster. But we don't seem, to me, to have enough football guys involved in all of this. Where's the leadership from a football perspective of the guys that are living in this world every single day, whether it's as an administrator, whether it's as a coach? I mean, why would we not get together a committee of 10 to 12 current sitting college football coaches and try and iron this thing out from their perspective? Because the day-to-day is what their world is every day.
Yeah, no, that would make too much sense. But I still think at some point, at some point in time, you got to have Grand Poobah. They say that in negotiations, the negotiation was successful if everybody's pissed off, and that's almost kind of what it's going to come down to. And I don't agree with the Big Ten on a lot of things. I understand, though, that I am a automatic qualifier guy. I think there'll be enough at-large teams that, an automatic qualifier for winning a conference championship should mean something. And look, we can go back over the last several years. It's extremely rare. You're not going to have an 8-4 team or a 9-3 team win the Big Ten championship. Yeah, probably not going to happen. But I'll say this. If you want to maintain the importance of conference championship games, that's got to be a carrot. I mean, to me, that's a thing. If a team were able to go in and, back in the day, Tennessee makes the Big Ten or the SEC championship game 5-3 in the league. If they were able to go in and that year beat LSU and get into the tournament, that makes that conference championship game really important. If it's not, then what happens is that, we're having a conference championship game, but the winner, it really doesn't matter. I agree with the Big Ten on that. I do think that a conference champion should get in and then go from there.
I totally agree with that as well, because it would be a statistical anomaly to have an 8-4, 9-3 champion, right, be involved. It could happen. Okay, we can acknowledge that it could happen. But the thing that people say, well, just because you're the conference champion doesn't mean you're the best team. Well, it wouldn't matter, because if you have enough at-large bids, the best teams are going to get in. So even if it's another team that didn't win the Big Ten, but you think that team is better than the team that did, they're both going to get in, and they'll figure it out on the field. So that part, there's really no argument there. I agree. Make the conference championship games mean something for both opponents, not just the favorite. If you get into it, you happen to fall back into it, and you somehow won the thing, more power to you, because the likelihood is the team that lost is still getting in. That just happened with Georgia with 4 teams, let alone 12.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Tom Luganville with us here from ESPN. All right, by the way, I looked at the way a 12-team playoff would have looked this particular year, and I just want to get your take on it. Bama and Michigan. Yeah, everybody talks about Georgia now because it was so clear they were the best team in the country.
Sure.
Georgia was playing. I mean, Bama and Michigan in one of the 12-team models, they would be the 2 teams that got a bye. Georgia would have played Pitt. Georgia wins. Let me ask you,
top 4 teams didn't get a bye?
No, not in this model. There's one of the models where only the top 2 get a bye, and everybody else is playing it down. Georgia plays Pitt. Okay, that's the 3-12 game. All right,
that's a blowout.
That's a blowout. Let me ask you this: Cincinnati plays Utah in the 4-11 game. I'm not sure that Utah doesn't win that game.
No kidding.
I mean, do you agree? Yeah. I mean, do you think? I think I got Utah winning that game.
But I think it would be a good game. So I don't think we'd have blowout city there, which is good.
Notre Dame plays Michigan State at home.
Blech.
Yeah, Notre Dame wins.
Notre Dame wins, and the only reason people watch it is because of the Notre Dame follow.
Because Notre Dame, yeah. Ohio State plays Oklahoma State, and Ohio State wins. And Baylor and Ole Miss did play. So we'll go ahead and give Baylor that game. Because would that have been any different if it was a playoff game? I think Ole Miss played it. I mean, they had all their guys. I mean, the guy gets hurt, obviously. Yeah. But, I mean, they played with their guys. So we're going to give Baylor credit for that game. So Bama plays Utah. Bama wins.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan plays Baylor. Michigan wins. Georgia plays Ohio State.
Ooh.
That's a game. That's a game right there. You know what I mean? Well, we got to give it to Georgia. But that's a game.
Okay.
That's a hell of a game. Notre Dame beats Baylor? Or does Baylor beat Notre Dame?
Oh, I don't think so. Baylor beats Notre Dame.
Baylor beats Notre Dame. Okay. So Baylor beats Notre Dame. So that puts Bama and Baylor in the semifinal. And Michigan and Georgia. So, that goes the way it goes. It's Georgia and Alabama, and Georgia beats Alabama. So we had fun for 4 weeks, and then Georgia beats Alabama in a championship game.
The other thing about all this, too, it's been brought up to me before, and I've just pushed back so hard on it, is there's a lot of people out there that believe that if you expand the playoff, you're going to lessen the opt-outs. I think that is complete fallacy.
Really?
You're going to tell me that, yes, because you're going to tell me, all right, that a team like, let's just say Pittsburgh and Michigan State, all right, both the marquee players from those 2 teams in the Peach Bowl decide not to play. But you're telling me that if there's a playoff berth, that they're worried about getting injured in 1 game, but they wouldn't be worried about getting injured in 3?
But they're important games. They're meaningful games. You know who else it paralyzes is the coaches. Now you got 12 coaches that are paralyzed because they're in this playoff. I want to go be the coach at USC. They're paralyzed. They can't go anywhere. Yeah. You know what I mean? I mean, it would be. It would look as bad as it looked for, Brian Kelly with a Fiesta Bowl team that still had an outside chance of getting into the playoff. How bad? I mean, what do you do then?
Though, but you know darn well that the seeds 8 through 12 or whatever they are, those kids are going to be looking at it and going, do we really have a chance to actually play for a national championship? I mean, would we really get past, let's just say, the first round or the second round? Well, let's just say you got it in 2 games. Now you're telling me that you're worried about playing in 1 game and you're going to get hurt and you're going to hurt your draft stock, but you'd be willing to play in 2 and 3. I don't think that's the case.
Transfer portal It's going nuts. Tom Luganbill with us, ESPN. It's just crazy, seeing the guys that are moving around in the transfer portal. Big names, not as big a names. Here's a name that's not as big a name, but he's a big name in Alabama. Robbie Ashford was a stud for Hoover.
Yeah, at Hoover.
Yeah, and he ended up out there at Oregon where he didn't even get a sniff. And now he's going, he's quote unquote coming home to Auburn. What are they getting in Robbie Ashford? Is this guy is he even in the mix with what they've got going on, in their depth chart right now at Auburn?
I think he could be, but I don't know if he needs to be immediately. I think that, it's interesting because you look at Auburn 3 weeks ago and you say, oh, my goodness, they're in big trouble. They got nobody in the room. Now, all of a sudden, they got, 4 or 5 guys in the room. And so I think it adds to the competitiveness of it. I really do. Holden Geriner, the high school prospect. You got Zach Calzada. Now Ashford comes back. I think the more bodies you have in the room, the more competition that it creates, the better your room is going to be. So, whether he is a play right away guy, don't think we know that yet. But I know this. All this does is add to the continual cycle that is the current transfer portal. Think about it, Tom. We're going to go through winter conditioning. We're going to go through spring football. All right. Guess what's going to happen after spring football at Auburn? At least one quarterback's going in the portal, right? At least one. Then you're going to get through the summer months, and they're going to see more writing on the wall. Then you're going to get through camp, and guess what's going to happen at the end of camp? Another one of those quarterbacks is going to leave. It's just a vicious cycle that we're going to go back. We're going to go through. The hope is, if you're Brian Harsin or any coach that's involved in this right now, is during that time that you do have them, whoever those guys are, that you find an answer with one of those guys. That's what you're banking on, and I tell you what, it's a risky proposition.
Well, stop me if I'm lying, though, too. If you haven't graduated, you only get one free transfer, right, where you're eligible immediately. So if a guy comes in and at the end of spring ball or whatever, he wants to transfer again, now he's in the old sit-out-a-year deal, right? It's not like you can go someplace. Unless he's graduated. Right. So T.J. Finley as the quote-unquote incumbent, Zach Calzada coming in, you got the freshman who's, Gunner, who was highly touted, but Zach Calzada or T.J. Finley, do you give an edge to either one of those guys right now? Like is there a guy where you say this is a guy's job to lose?
To be honest with you, I probably would say it's Zach Calzada's job to lose. I think he showed more growth, more promise in his 10 starts than in the marginal few starts. I know 2 years ago, T.J. Finley started 5 games, but he also he was one of 3 quarterbacks that year at LSU to start multiple games and was the least productive. The other 2 were Miles Brennan and Max Johnson. So I would say maybe Zach Calzada would be the leader in the clubhouse. But, the clubhouse just got more competitive. So if you're Brian Harsin, that's what you want. You want to go in there, throw it out there, say, hey, guys, here's what we're going to do. We're going to chart every throw you make. We're going to chart every mistake. We're going to chart body language. We're going to chart leadership. We're going to chart weight room participation. We're going to chart every single thing you do. And let's see who comes out on top. It's all going to be based on your performance. And throw them all in the room and see what happens.
JT Daniels, he's got to go somewhere, right? I mean, I was listening to Feinbaum a little bit yesterday, and I heard him talking about Georgia Southern. I mean, that kid's got to go back west, doesn't he? I mean, why would he hang around over here once he jumps into transfer portal?
Just because of Clay Helton, probably, being the head coach now at Georgia Southern. So, I mean, I see it from a relationship standpoint. I get that. I think he's going to have some options out there. I think the question you've got to ask with him, though, is the guy won the job twice, right? Also has lost the job. Why hasn't he gotten it back? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just like –
because he really doesn't like football that much. How about that? Because he really doesn't. Because he really doesn't like football that much. Yeah.
There could be a lot of legitimacy to that, and if that's the case, then Kirby Smart all along has been smarter than everybody else. Because if that's the guy leading the program, and there's any truth to that, then that's not the trait you want under center. And the problem with that is that'll get around. People start asking around, what's the deal? Start asking questions. Why has this been happening with this guy? If you're doing your homework, you're gonna seek and find those answers before you pull the trigger. I think, to be honest with you, Tom, the best guy in this market, if you remove Caleb Williams, regardless of position, the best transfer portal guy in this market is Jackson Dart.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. No question.
and they don't know where he's going yet. And he leaves that
to
seat.
be honest with you,
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say it's kind of surprising that Lincoln Riley wasn't able to keep him in the mix, but I guess that's because Caleb Williams, everybody feels it's 100% that he's going to Southern Cal. And then what are you going to do if you're Jackson Dart?
Right, and Jackson Dart right now, you're looking at Oklahoma and Ole Miss as two outstanding opportunities, and I just think that whoever ends up with him is going to end up with the best long-term option that could actually help you win, that upgrade your team, upgrade your position group, that has a huge upside to be a great player.
And to that point, he's 6'3", 215 pounds. I did a commentary about this today, and it could be misconstrued a few different ways. But I love talking quarterbacks with you. I wanted to get your thought on it. If you look at the NFL right now and who's left standing in the playoffs, in the NFC, it's Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Matt Stafford, Jimmy Garoppolo. They're all basically stationary pocket passers, but they're all Jimmy G and Aaron Rodgers are 6'2", Stafford 6'3", Brady 6'4". In the AFC, Tannehill, Burrow, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, fairly mobile guys. Allen's the best runner in a bunch. But those guys, Mahomes is 6'3", Burrow and Tannehill are 6'4", and Allen is 6'5". I never felt like Kyler Murray, you could win big with him. And we saw it just look like garbage, against the Rams. Baker Mayfield is struggling at 6 foot. Tua is struggling at 6 foot. Yes, Russell Wilson at 5'11", but he had the best defense in the NFL for 4 years, the Legion of Boom when he was winning. And Drew Brees won a lot of games, won one championship, but again, an outlier. Does it seem like it still feels like the NFL is run by big guys at quarterback? You got to have a big one, and I'm wondering, with the proliferation of all of these mobile quarterbacks in college football, where do you go find the Josh Allens and the Ryan Tannehills and the Joe Burrows, the big quarterbacks in college football anymore?
Well, it's the big and athletic. I think that's the thing, is you don't have to be Lamar Jackson, but you have to be able to extend a play. You have to be able to keep a play alive. Now, the guys like Tom Brady are so good at what they've done at their craft for so many years that the way they're beating you is they don't let you get to them. The ball's out of their hands so fast that you can't get to them. They're so decisive and they make such quick decisions in their process that you can't get to them. But for some of those other guys that may not have a 20-year background and sample size, you're going to come up with other ways that your athleticism allows you to flourish. And, you're kind of hitting on a point. I think everybody got way over their skis in talking about the viability of the 6 foot or 5'11" quarterback at the NFL level. Everybody acts like there's way more of them than there actually are. There's not. And to be honest with you, there's not a whole ton of them in college football. There's a handful, all right? But at the end of the day, it's hard for the 5'11", 210-pound quarterback to have the natural physical attributes that a 6'4", 220-pound guy has. That's not how the body is structured.
Yeah.
So
the reason I mention that is because everybody says that if Bryce Young was in this draft, he'd be the number one pick. And he's going to be the projected number one pick in the 2023 draft. And I sit there and I looked at that and I say, you know what? Love Bryce Young. Love what he does at Alabama. It's fun to watch him play. I don't know that Bryce Young is going to have a great NFL career. I think Bryce Young would be a bit of a reach in the NFL. He may struggle, in the NFL, because he's barely 5'11". You've stood next to him.
I don't disagree.
I think that kid would. I think that would be a problem deal. You might be better off taking a Dylan, 5-6 years from now, Dylan Gabriel or Max Johnson or Slovis or one of these other guys may actually end up being a more serviceable NFL quarterback than what Bryce Young will be.
Well, and with Bryce too, you got to remember, not only is he on the shorter side, he's on the smaller side. Baker Mayfield and Kyler, they're thick. They're thick-limbed guys. They got thick elbows, thick joints, thick knees, thick hips. So they're short, but they're not small. That's not necessarily the case with Bryce Young. And so you're right. It's weird. You sit there and you try to say, okay, well, what's the elite physical skill set? Well, it's hard to take Matthew Stafford's ability to throw the football and his natural physical skill set and put it in a 5'11" body.
Yeah.
If that was viable, there'd be 100 of those guys around, and there's not. That's just not the nature of the physical makeup of the human being.
Yeah, and Josh Allen will be able to, long after those skills, those running skills, go away, and you still see Ryan Tannehill run around a little bit. But look at the money in the career that Ryan Tannehill has had. You know what I mean? A guy who had to switch to wide receiver at Texas A&M. Yeah, he still is, a mobile guy, but, he can do damage, in the pocket. And, ultimately that's, I think, what you got to find somewhere. All right, Tom Luganville has been our guest. Lugs, I appreciate you so much, and we'll look forward to continuing to chat here as things steamroll towards whatever the offseason is in college football.
All right, buddy. Take care.
All right, man. Thank you. Tom Luganville, brought to us by Woody Anderson Ford. All right, good college football conversation there. You want to jump in? Phone lines are open the rest of the way. You want in? Go ahead and get in. Crazy story about a current NFL player that was a high draft pick that, well, it's just nuts. I'll share it with you next, right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Heads up, sports bettors. Right now you can try VSiN All Access free for 30 days with no credit card required. Visit vsin.com/free month to sign up now.
College basketball, Alabama at home tonight against 13th-ranked LSU. The Crimson Tide, a 2.5-point favorite at Coleman Coliseum, over under 146. Number 2, Auburn, a 22-point favorite at home against Georgia, 153.5 total. NBA, the Hawks at home tonight against Minnesota. Atlanta, a 2-point home favorite, 233 total. The Hawks 18-25 on the season. The Timberwolves 21-22. NFL divisional playoffs Saturday and Sunday. The Bengals a 3.5-point road dog at the Titans, and the 49ers plus 5.5 at the Packers. Both games on Saturday. Then Sunday, the Rams plus 3 at the Bucks, and the Chiefs a 2-point home favorite against the Bills.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us, too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now, and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
It's an amazing time in our industry. Things are changing so rapidly. With digital signatures and workflow software, we help our customers work from anywhere. This helps you save time and money and upgrade your technologies. Like I said, it's an amazing time to watch our customers grow and succeed.
Just ask anyone. The Lyle Secret.
Thom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
What can you expect when you shop for a firearm at Bullet & Barrel? Expect great prices. We specialize in quality over quantity. Expect great service. Our professional sales staff is never pushy. We won't talk you into something that doesn't fit your needs. You have the right to make a smart, informed decision. Expect Bullet & Barrel, Alabama's only 5-star indoor shooting range, to support you after the sale. Bullet & Barrel, 3252 Lehman Ferry Road. Like or follow us on Facebook. Come see us soon.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly cloudy sky this afternoon. Temperatures are going to warm up somewhat quickly. By the lunch hour, many of us are talking about temperatures in the mid and upper 50s. Some of us could even be talking about the lower 60s. Unfortunately, it's not going to be a completely great day across the Tennessee Valley as widespread shower and thunderstorm activity looks to move into the Tennessee Valley through the later part of the afternoon and then early into the evening. That activity is going to stick with us through a good majority of the evening. It is associated with a cold front. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Paul Feinbaum. Listen to me coming up today at 2. Now back to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Segment of the Thom Abraham Show is brought to you by the Orthopedic Center. For all your orthopedic needs, big or small, whether it's surgery or whether it's just, you know what, I got something that's bothering my knee. It might not be a surgical thing. It may just mean some rehab. They got you covered at TOC. Their docs are the best, and they have specialists in each department. They got a guy that is a shoulder guy and a knee guy, and they got a guy that works on spine, and they've got a guy that works on, every different type of injury. They've got specialists that kind of work within that particular department. They're just that good. I mean, they're just that good. And remember, if your doctor suggests that you need to see an orthopedic, you tell him that you want a referral to the Orthopedic Center, to TOC. It doesn't have to be a sports injury. It could be any kind of an injury. It could be an injury from working or just working around your house, or I don't know, maybe you got a sore back from working in your kitchen renovation job. Maybe not. I don't know. All right, phone lines are open if you want it, 256-576-4977. That will get you into the show. We've thrown a lot of stuff on the board here. Talked a lot of baseball in the first hour regarding the Hall of Fame coming up. And Grizz, I didn't really give you a chance to weigh in on that. I am interested in your take. Would you or would you not put the Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens of the world in the Baseball Hall of Fame? Would you vote for them if you had a vote?
Yeah, I would. I would without a doubt. I mean, we can't take away from what they did in baseball. I mean, Barry Bonds was almost a Hall of Famer, I think, before he started getting big.
He was Hall of Famer.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So, I mean, like, we can't sit here and just hold a grudge for, like, so many years. It's kind of like the A-Rod thing. It's like, that dude can't really feel good about himself. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be that person that can just sit there and constantly just bring up the past and just constantly reflect on it to a negative point to where you're using it against the person that, like, not only, like, you don't think of, like, how positive that would make the family of that person. You know, what if that person, like, it's like when I watch people get in the Hall of Fame after they've passed away, and how special it is to their family because they were like some of the most compelling players, or maybe they were just the most talented players of their time, and you're gonna do this because of a technicality, basically, or like basically.
Well, it's not a technicality.
Well,
he got suspended for an entire year. But do you think that Alex Rodriguez?
Yeah.
Do you think his entire career was a fraud? I mean, that's what this comes down to. Do you think Alex Rodriguez was a fraud, or do you think Alex Rodriguez used performance-enhancing drugs to go from a 500 home run hitter to a 600 home run hitter? Certainly did not help him with his defense.
Yeah.
So it would have only helped him with his, and it wouldn't have helped him with his average. It really, generally, for the most part, it wouldn't help you with your average. It would help you with your power numbers. So the question is, was A-Rod on his way to being a 500-plus home run guy that hit over 600? Was Barry Bonds going to be a 600, 620 home run guy? See, I think Barry Bonds was enhanced by about 100 home runs. I think Barry Bonds was headed for 650, 660, and he hit an extra hundy with the juice. That got him to 762. He had those years at the end of his career where he was hitting 70 home runs or 65 home runs instead of hitting 40 home runs. So I think Barry Bonds had an extra 100 to 150 home runs so the point is, without those extra 100, 150 home runs, Barry Bonds at 600 home runs is still a Hall of Famer. Now, Sammy Sosa, Sammy Sosa, he was not going to be a Hall of Famer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mark McGwire was not going to be a Hall of Famer. So the years that those guys had, those are guys that were meat and potato guys that all of a sudden became, had stupid big numbers because of the juice. You know what I mean? So I think we are smart enough to differentiate Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Alex Rodriguez, and Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, Brady Anderson, who had 50 home runs one year on the juice. You know what I mean? We're smart enough to know what a Hall of Famer is.
Right, and I just don't think it's ever going to change until they always talk about that. Like, I know whenever anytime I've heard about baseball, it's just the older baseball writers, and until they're gone or until they're get rid of, you know what I mean? It's like
they thinned it out somewhat.
Yeah, I mean, but it still seems like not like the older generation, but maybe the middle-aged generation, like 20 years older than me or 10 years older than me, like it just seems like even people that are like around my age like still hold a grudge but I think that's why though, because don't you think if like guys maybe went in closer to like when they retired, or like do you think guys that maybe would have, like when we talk about when they would have gone in, like when they would have played if they've gone in at that time when they were at their hype, kind of like David Ortiz, because he's such a love around the media, you think that they would have been, at least their percentages would have been better, or maybe they would have been voted a little bit better.
Well, it's too much of a popularity contest, I think, with a lot of these guys. Now, text window, referring to Josh Carey saying we need to vote somebody into the Hall of Fame so the Hall of Fame weekend won't be boring.
Yeah.
He's like, really? No, I agree with that. No, we don't need to put guys in just so that it's not a boring weekend. He also says comparing what guys did in the 60s with the steroid guys is like comparing the moon with the sun. I disagree with that. The amphetamines that guys took in the 60s, those uppers that guys took in the 60s, definitely impacted their play. They're playing 6 games a week. Yeah. You cannot tell me that guys taking uppers like they're candy, before a game did not affect their play.
And
it really did.
And I agree with you on that, because it's a thing that even in the gaming community that is a huge, huge red flag, because guys have been called out for it for using, uppers to basically, be active and stay awake during the games. So, yeah.
Yeah. Let me go to the lines. Grumpy is up. Grumpy, welcome in. How are you?
Hey, pretty good. I'm going to change the subject back to the college playoff. When the SEC commissioner, how do you pronounce his last name? Sankey?
Yeah, Greg Sankey.
Now, when he actually, stop me when I'm lying, he actually sat down in the room with these other commissioners from other.
Yeah, there was 11 of them. There was the 10 conferences and the Notre Dame guy, and Sankey has a pretty big voice in that room. He's kind of a little bit of the alpha male when they get together.
Yeah. And it wasn't even Zoom calls. It was Zoom calls and physical meetings. And then my understanding from the articles I read was everything was positive towards growing this to a larger number in the playoff. And then Oklahoma and Texas joined the SEC, and the other commissioners kind of felt, from what I would understand, the trade, that he was, having all this back channel stuff going and talking to them in a room and to their face about making this a larger playoff. And then when the telephone call took place, that was supposed to be a clean up the details type telephone call, several of the other commissioners were like, no, we're not having.
Well, there's no doubt. Yeah, there is no doubt that the decision of Oklahoma and Texas to join the SEC put the brakes, I believe, because what happened is this. You're right. In May or June, they announced that they have a plan, and they're going to meet in September, and it's basically going to be rubber stamped. Everybody was under the impression that this would be done. We were going to have 1 or 2 more years of the old system, and the new system would be in before the end of the contract. Then at SEC Media Days, it comes out that Oklahoma and Texas are joining the SEC, and wait a minute, that means the SEC, as a 16-team league, is liable to get 4 or 5 of the playoff teams on a 12-team playoff. And what happens is, at that point, the other commissioners get pissed off. They start that little alliance that they have between the 12, the Pac-12, and the Big Ten. They start that alliance for scheduling purposes and all this stuff, and the brakes get put on it because they're like, what else? Where is the other shoe going to drop on conference realignment? And sure enough, it did. I mean, 4 teams went to the Big 12. There's been other movement. I think people thought there would be even more movement, that the Big Ten was going to go to 16 and so on. So the whole thing, the kibosh got put on it after the SEC expanded to 16. But on the other hand, don't you think that Oklahoma and Texas are like, well, the only reason we were going is because it was going to go to a 12-team playoff. We got no chance of making a 14-team playoff if we go to the SEC now.
How many years did it push it out till we'll grow the number?
There was the original playoff. The original 14 playoff was a 12-year plan. We are 8 years into it. The hope was that this would cut it off at about 9 or 10, that we would get this in. And now everybody is saying, if this doesn't get pushed through, like immediately, we're going to get the announcement literally within the next week that nothing is changing until this contract runs out in 2026. And so we're going to get the last 4 years of the 14 playoff. So if you're Oklahoma and Texas, do you want to rescind going to that? Did you make your decision to go to the SEC based on the false pretense that the playoff was going to expand? Because if you're Oklahoma and Texas, you're like, what the hell am I going to go to a 16-team conference? I'm better off staying here in my little 10-team, Big 12.
Well,
I got a better chance of getting in.
As a fan of college football that wants to see this thing get the numbers larger, more teams into the playoffs, I would play the other side of the coin. I would give up Texas and Oklahoma if we could start a 12-team playoff next year, and they can just go back to wherever they came from. Yeah. I think we paid a heavy price to get those 2 teams in here. I know that it's all going to work out in the future, and 10 years from now we won't even remember this. Hey, let me say this, too. Auburn's playing a baseball game, out there at that stadium, and I realize that they probably have contracts on how they have to sell those tickets, but he's already talking about, the guy you had on was talking about how some of these seats are already sold out. A guy like me can't even buy a ticket right now. So, the Trash Pandas season ticket holders get 30 days to buy the tickets, and then it goes to the Auburn baseball season ticket holders, the guys that have the big money. And then way over on January 3rd or 4th, they open it up to the general public, a guy like me that might buy a ticket and take somebody to the game. So by the time I can get a ticket, I either got to buy a scalper ticket or I got to sit in the nosebleed or sit down where I don't want to sit. I just don't like the way they're selling those tickets, man.
Are they available to the? Let's see. Are they available to the public yet?
No, not until January 3rd. Right now, the only people that can buy it right now are Pandas season ticket holders, and then next week sometime it opens up to Auburn baseball season ticket holders. And then after that, it goes to January 3rd, and then a guy like me.
You keep saying January 3rd. It's January 19th. You mean February 3rd? I'm looking at the site right now.
I only read the article once, and I was so kind of disappointed with it. I was just like, okay, I get the slim ticket.
No. Right now, this is the way it went. From January 3rd to the 10th, Auburn baseball season ticket holders were given a code to buy tickets before they went on sale to the general public. They went on sale to the general public Monday, January 10th. So this past a week ago Monday, 9 days ago, they went on sale to the general public. You can buy parking. You can buy tickets. So if you want, take a shot and see what's left. I think there's a lot of good tickets left. You can go right now to the Trash Pandas ticket site and buy tickets for that game. You can't buy a suite. The suites are sold out, but other than that, you can buy tickets.
Yeah, I didn't want a suite anyway. I only read the article once, and I was just like, well, that's another game I won't get a good seat to. So, yeah, I'll go back and look at that, man. I'll revisit that.
Yeah,
all right, man. Listen, I appreciate it.
All right, man, appreciate you. I just clicked on the purchase tickets thing. You can get a lower bowl ticket right now for $17.44 in every section except for right behind the plate. But you can get a ticket on the lower level. You can get a ticket behind the Auburn bench for $17.44. There's 34 tickets in this section. There's 81 tickets in this. So if you wanted to be even, Grizz, let's say with first base, if you wanted to be right even with first base behind the Auburn dugout, there are 80 box seats. There are 81 tickets available at $17.44. So you can get tickets. There's plenty of tickets. I'm looking at it right now. There are. You can get into four top down the right field fence. You can sit at a four top table and get tickets for $21.80 a piece in the four top table right now. Now, if you want to go out and be on the berm, $8.72. 386 tickets are available on the berm. I don't want to go on the berm. I can go excellent seats for $17.44 right now. Go to the Trash Panda site and click on the ticket site, and you can get them. That'll work out. All right, let's get a break. I got to tell you this crazy story. I'll tell it to you when we come back on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Here's another listing from the 97.7 ESPN The Zone job board. Automation Personnel Services is seeking a hardworking warehouse operator for a well-respected pharmaceutical company in Huntsville, with pay starting at $15 an hour. Learn more at 977ESPN.com. Does your business have positions it needs filled? Contact 97.7 ESPN The Zone today to get your openings announced on the 97.7 ESPN The Zone job board. Just email Joe at abrahamBroadcasting@gmail.com.
Everybody knows the fun begins when you get to the end zone, where you can enjoy half-price apps every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, half-price burgers every Tuesday, plus late-night pizza specials and a spectacular menu that includes jumbo wings, half-pound burgers, Tex-Mex, and an incredible selection of craft beer, and plenty of big-screen TVs. It's all happening at the end zone, 1851 University Drive, 2030 Cecil Ashburn at Jones Valley Station, and coming in early 2022, Mid-City End Zone at 1115 McMurtry next to the Target Shopping Center.
Thom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Get your Ford your way today.
Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and we've got F-150s in stock right now. We have F-150s on the ground so you can climb behind the wheel and take a test drive today. Plus, at Woody Anderson Ford, our 2021 F-150s come with $1,000 in bonus cash, along with financing as low as 0% for up to 60 months with your good credit. This offer ends January 31st. To be clear, these F-150s are in stock today, ready for your garage tonight. Now let's talk about making a custom factory order. Not only is there no extra cost to custom order, but you'll get $1,000 off MSRP on top of any additional factory rebates on 2022 F-150, Explorer, Ranger, Expedition, and Mustang. Go to WoodyAndersonFord.com and you'll see how easy it is. And speaking of easy, our service department is now offering free pickup and delivery when it's time for your next Ford service. Ask about it at Woody Anderson Ford, the corner of Jordan and Sparkman. Look forward to seeing you.
This is Wes Neighbors with Philip with Eagle Insulation, and we have an announcement to make.
Yes, Wes, we are now Eagle Masonry and Insulation. We're still a place to call for your insulation needs, but now we offer masonry services.
What kind of masonry projects can you handle?
Wes, no job is too big, no job is too small. We can do renovations, new construction, outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, brick landscape borders.
Well, when you came out to my house, you did both the insulation and masonry at the same time. You guys did rock for me, you did brick for me, and you insulated my house. That's usually done at the same time that you're building a house.
Absolutely. It really capitalizes on two services you need at the same time, and you can get one company to handle both of those.
Philip with Eagle Insulation will come out, do your installation. He'll do your masonry. They do a great job. They guarantee your work. Check out more online at insulatewitheagle.com and schedule your free examination today. 256-755-1556.
Thanks, Wes.
Thom Abraham here from my friend Ross Roberts and his team at Valley Equipment Rental on the South Memorial Parkway. Did you know that Valley Equipment Rental is independently owned and operated by local folks right here in the Valley? They are celebrating 10 years in the business this year and have grown to be North Alabama's largest supplier of rental skid steers and mini excavators. Now, if you have a question about what tool to use, just call them at 964-6081, and the pros at Valley Equipment will get you into the tool that you need for your specific project. Valley Equipment, more care in every rental.
Bring that playoff intensity every day to our shows.
Bring it on, Chop. Let's go.
Okay, maybe just for Drew DeArmond.
Me.
Listen for Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew. Weekday mornings starting at 7 on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
So I'm going to watch it on TV.
The game's on. Oh, I almost forgot. I'll be right there.
We like sports and we don't care who knows. From shooting hoops to the Super Bowl. We like sports and we don't care who knows. Football, tennis, hockey, golf. The game is starting. Everyone is here. I got my snacks, my friends, and a beer.
So I'm going to watch it on TV.
Are you ready for football? A Monday night party!
So I'm going to watch it on TV. So I'm going to watch it on TV.
What to watch on TV tonight is brought to all of us by Audio Insight. At Audio Insight, they can do whatever you need, from audio visual needs for your home or your office. You know, a lot of businesses, they want to have that big screen TV there for atmosphere when people come in or for training purposes and so on. Audio Insight deals with a lot of businesses as well. They've been doing this for years and years now, over 20 years in the Tennessee Valley with Dave Bond leading the way. And, you know, he knows that it isn't a one-size-fits-all type, deal that you need. There's different kinds of designs that every application needs, whether it's an existing application or whether or not it's a new build. You know, a new home is being built and they want a home theater. Audio Insight, they're the ones that can do the job. Go to audio-insight.com to learn more. Audio-insight.com. Also, check out their showroom, 1229 Putman Drive off of Jordan Lane. All right, tonight, the pick tonight would be this LSU-Alabama game, ESPN2 at 6 o'clock. Of course, we'll have it on our air, but this is a big one tonight for Alabama to try and right the ship, Grizz, to be honest with you. 3 straight conference losses. They need to get it right, and this would be a good spot to start against a number 13 team in the country with the LSU Tigers in town.
Oh, without a doubt, really just someone just to establish some kind of like a big senior presence. You know what I mean? Like someone really take over and like talk
Gotta
to
have seniors to have a big.
I understand that. It's like bored. You know, it's like you would expect maybe Quinterly or somebody. You know what I mean? It's like somebody to kind of step up in that kind of role, where it's really just to get the guys motivated and together. But yeah, because it's huge. I mean, you really got to do it it's a talented LSU team too.
Yeah.
Because I think if you don't, I mean, it's gonna be really tough for Alabama, and you kind of hope to expect a better team going into the tournament.
It's doubleheader night on TNT with the NHL on TNT tonight. The first game is Toronto and the Rangers. That's an original 6 game. I am compelled to watch some portion of that game. That's in my bylaws, my personal bylaws. Anytime there's an original 6 game playing, I need to watch some portion of that game. I will watch the early game. The late game is Colorado and Anaheim. I will not watch that game. But the production on TNT for the NHL is outstanding. Check that out if you like it. Chris, I don't know if you saw this story. Just an absolute wacky type story, absurd story coming out of Florida regarding the Browns defensive lineman Malik McDowell.
I saw a little bit, a tiny bit, yeah.
Dude was found roaming around a parking lot near a school buck naked. I mean, just buck naked.
What?
The cops were called. They rolled him over on his stomach on the pavement and cuffed him as he squirmed on the ground. Oh, God, that must have felt great. Laying on your stomach on the pavement, buck naked. That'd be painful. Finally, they rolled him over on his side. You know what I mean? Give him a little bit of a relief.
Yeah.
And they loaded him onto a gurney, and they hauled him around. Now, you remember this guy, Malik McDowell, 6'6" and about 300 pounds.
Yeah.
Was a second-round pick by the Seahawks back in 2017 out of Michigan State. He was subsequently arrested 5 times over the next 2 years. He ended up in jail for 11 months. No one thought that this dude would ever play again. The Browns signed him back in May. He made the team. He actually started 14 games and played really well. And now he's rolling around on the pavement buck naked.
Yeah.
All right, in Florida. I mean,
what are you doing, man? Like,
what
seriously.
are you doing? And he said when the Browns signed him and he made the team, he said, I know what my life would be like without football and the stuff I fell into without playing. I just want to get back to a more structure in my life. My career's at stake, my livelihood, taking care of my family, a chance to take care of my family. Need to do everything everyday persons can't do. Go out there in front of thousands of fans to play a game and get paid lots of money to do it. Okay. That lasted a year. Buck naked. By a school. Crazy. All right, that's going to do it for us. Coming up next, Chuck Oliver, Paul Feinbaum, in The Drive with Wes and Steve, all right here on the Valley's sports station, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Orange is the color of power, of construction, the color of Kubota and Huntsville Tractor and Equipment. Those who need to get things done trust Kubota's mini excavators, compact track loaders, and the best keeps getting better with the all-new mini compact loader from one of the top dealers in the country. More than